The police department in Gloucester, Massachusetts, has decided to take a completely different strategy in combating the number of opioid addicts in the country. And the way that they're doing this is by posting the information of the top 5 pharmaceutical CEOs and convincing citizens to contact them to ask what they plan on doing about addictions in the country. So according to Boston.com, in a post on the department's Facebook page, Gloucester Police posted the names, salaries, and contact information for 5 of the highest paid CEOs of pharmaceutical companies and urged readers to make some calls. They also added, now don't get mad, just politely ask them what they're doing to address the opioid epidemic in the United States, and if they realize that the latest data shows almost 80% of addicted persons start with a legally prescribed drug that they make. They can definitely be part of the solution here, and I believe that they will be, might need a little push.
Okay, I'm stunned by this. So I love this.
Yes.
What you're trying to do is bring attention to a problem that they have to deal with daily as the police, right? Yeah. Addiction, and then it leads to obviously other issues that they come across. And I needed that attention. I didn't know. So, you know, they say bring attention to the issue, etc. They brought attention to it. I didn't know 80% of addicted persons start with a legally prescribed drug.
Yeah.
Right? That's a stunning number.
So,
I mean, you know, you need more research, not just their word for it, but anywhere in that ballpark is amazing. I mean, how often do they talk about marijuana as being the gateway drug, right? No, but the reality is prescription drugs are the gateway drug.
So I just wrote about this on Raw Story. You guys should definitely check it out because I give more statistics about what's happening with opioid addiction in the country. But opioid addiction and also heroin addiction are directly related to the overprescription of painkillers like OxyContin and things like that. And so the reason why this is such a huge issue is because people will suffer some sort of injury or they'll undergo surgery, and while they're recovering, they'll be prescribed these drugs, and then they become addicted immediately. The FDA just recently passed painkillers for kids. So now kids can be prescribed painkillers. This is a huge problem. And so you see this uptick of heroin addictions as a result of prescription painkillers. So I love that these police officers are not misguided. They have a great strategy, and it goes beyond what they just did on Facebook. They are no longer criminalizing people who get caught with possession. So if you are a heroin addict or if you're addicted to any drug in that area and you go to the police, they will not arrest you. They will immediately give you the help you need to go to rehabilitation and sober up. And that's amazing. I love that.
So pharmaceutical companies and their CEOs make tremendous money from drugs that are addictive. Totally fine. Alcohol companies and their CEOs make a tremendous amount of money from substances that are addictive to some. And don't get me wrong, I'm totally in favor. Okay, but that's totally fine. Another group of Americans make some money on another drug that, by the way, is not as addictive. That is not fine. And they need to be, it needs to be illegal. They need to be put in jail and have, what, over 1 million people in jail because they're selling the drugs that are not legal, though not nearly as dangerous as these drugs. Now, what's the majority of the CEOs are black, right? And the majority of the marijuana sellers that are in prison are white, right? Oh, it's the opposite?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's, again, another coincidence. Long line of coincidences, that just happens to be another one.
So you're telling me that if you're a heroin addict in Foster or whatever, Gloucester, and you go into the police department, they'll take care of you? No one gets beat up or put in prison?
They don't. And
what the fuck, Anna? What is this, America? No one gets punished? How am I supposed to feel better about myself?
I love this story because obviously we do a lot of negative coverage on police brutality because it keeps happening day in and day out. But there are good cops out there who aren't misguided, who genuinely want to help members of their community, and these guys are doing it, and I love it. I love covering stories like this.
Look, they're serving the community. They realize that the law actually is more deleterious to the society than the drug. And that the way to deal with the drug is like a compassionate human being, and you treat them like an addict, like you would treat an alcoholic or someone addicted to cigarettes, which also kills a lot of people. Right. And they can extrapolate that and apply it to other drugs, which as a country we can't, because we have what the problem Brazil has is that our lawmakers are bought and paid for by the people who make money off of this stuff. Not only the private prisons, but also the guys who make money selling these OxyContin and Vicodin and whatever have you. So that's what's wrong. So you can. So by the way, so if a kid on the inner city sells crack to buy food for his family, he's a criminal, needs to go away for 15 years. If you're a white guy in a suit and you addict half of a state on your heroin pill, then you are a good guy doing the right things. And Patrick Kennedy will tell you what a good job you're doing. So, so my point is, if you follow the rules in America, you're a sucker.
Yeah, and to your point, one of the reasons why I did so much research on this story is because recently Chris Christie blamed Barack Obama for the heroin epidemic in the country, which was ridiculous. And the reason why he did it is because he has a vested interest in doing so. He's received $317,000 from pharmaceutical companies in the tune of, campaign donations and things like that. So is he really going to reveal who the real culprit is? No, he's going to blame it on Obama, who obviously has nothing to do with this.
Patrick Kennedy was also touring the country last year and going on all the news shows and making speeches about how we have to keep medical marijuana illegal because it's a gateway drug. He literally was saying that. And it turns out he was being paid for. He's in bed with the manufacturers of OxyContin.
Right.
Which is actually a gateway drug.
Yes.
So those are the kinds. So whenever you see someone, and by the way, when someone makes the case that we have to do this to protect the kids, don't believe them unless they're talking about health care or education. Anything else, it's bullshit, and they're using those kids as a pawn.
Yeah. So, some people get on us. They think we're biased against certain things, right? Like cops. No, we judge them by their actions. So in this case, they've got two wonderful parts of this program. One is bringing attention to the issue, and second is if you bring in your painkillers and you say, help me, they're not going to lock you up. They're going to help get you rehabilitated.
And that is one thing that I actually do really like about the story, because almost every time I ever have to talk about law enforcement in videos, it's always negative. So, hey, Bristol Palin would actually like this story because she was all concerned about cops looking bad. But I really do like this because it is a positive outlook on law enforcement, and I love that they can come in and turn in what they have and be given help instead of be put in jail or gotten in trouble somehow or fined or something like that. And what was cool is that whenever you click on the Facebook thread for this, from the story, almost all of the comments were very positive, and people were, lifting up the cops and sharing this post. It got like 550 shares or something like that, or 878. So it's getting more and more every day, and that's awesome.
Yeah, and also I want to give you guys this caveat that they're not sharing like the home addresses of these pharmaceutical CEOs, right? It's just their email addresses and their office phones, so you can contact them and say, hey, what's up? Like,
public
what are you gonna do about
information.
this? Exactly.